All right, so welcome back to the On Purpose podcast, where we're here to live a life of purpose, to be flourished and fulfilled in all areas of our life. I got a good one today, Kirk. It is, it's good. Moving from the transition of codependency to independence to what the F is interdependence for people. So first, I want to start with codependency. What is it, and what are the telltale signs that you're even in it? Because a lot of people can't even see inside of the box that they're in. So,
Right.
what is that world, and how can we step into that?
I remember when I first started hearing about codependency, it was some sort of like real special term that only people in the know talk about, and only some people have it. You shouldn't really talk about it unless you know something about it. And there was all this mystery around it and everything. And so I accepted it must be something really weird and subtle and deep and hard for me to understand. But I don't really think it's any of that. I think it's actually really simple. I think it's um, there's this phrase that really captures it. It's not terribly scientific, but it's remarkably effective, I think. Codependency is when you're not okay if someone else is not okay. That seems like a simple enough thing, but if you lean into that for a little bit, you're not okay if someone else isn't okay. Okay, cool. Well, you've just given all of your power to that someone else. Because all that someone else has to do is just not be okay for you not to be okay. That's a lot of power you're giving up and giving to someone else. And and it's usually both ways. That's right. So I can't, when people are in a codependent relationship, it's usually both ways. So I'm not okay if you're not okay. So if you're not having a great day, I'm not having a great day. And you can't be okay if I'm not okay. Um, Now there's all sorts of really weird twists. Some people like to see other people suffer, so that codependency is unless I'm making you miserable, I'm not okay. So, it looks different, but I think it's the same mechanism. So anyway, if you look at that, it's all of a sudden becomes real simple. People become codependent, I believe, because I grew up, I'm 61 years old. I grew up in the United States. So that's my cultural, you know, that's where my cultural perspectives come from. But, um, I was always taught that um, my opinions didn't really matter. My feelings about something didn't matter. There was um, a way everything was supposed to be and what I was supposed to think and what I was supposed to know. And here's the kicker: the keeper of that way that I was supposed to know was the powerful one, right? So if if we're in a codependent relationship, you're trying to figure out what I need you to be so that I can be okay, because you can't be okay unless I'm okay. So you're trying to figure out what you need to be so I can be okay. And all I've got to do to string you along is make it difficult or impossible for you to understand what you need to do for me to be okay. I don't know. I'm just upset. Okay, well, so then the whole thing just kind of gets locked up and spirals down. So anyway, so that's codependency. Dependency is like when you're a child, you absolutely do need your your care from the adult, from the caregiver. And codependency is this created thing. Can be between children and children, adults and adults and adults and all that kind of thing. Um, so anyway, let me pause there. I talked for a minute. So that's how I view codependency, is an inability to be okay, to look within yourself to see if you're okay. You're looking out into other people's perspective to see if you're okay, to see if they mirror back you're okay, so that you're okay. So your whole orientation is about what other people think what other people need to be okay, and what other people think about you.
Mm.
So it's a very different, like it's a very different set of priorities than like living a life of purpose, for example, or living a life of principles and values, or living a life to accomplish, like build a great company or accomplish something, like that. It's just it's a different set of priorities.
Wow. Yeah, that world, it really highlights a lot of my like old life and just sharing this with everyone,
Yeah.
being that way. It was like walking on eggshells. Like I couldn't do
Yeah.
anything unless this person is good, and I'm trying to get
Yeah.
everything right to make sure that this person doesn't flip their lid. Oh, when
Yes.
dad comes
Exactly.
home, you better keep it down and keep it kosher. And
Yeah.
um,
You're a slave of whoever you're not willing to upset.
yeah, yeah. And it's like asking for permission for things. And it like
Yeah.
when you said like that person has your power. It's like
Yeah.
giving away your own personal power.
Yeah.
And so what would be the thing for people to step out of when they recognize it? How do they step out of codependency?
Well, first I want to admit something on your podcast here. I want to admit my own codependency. Would you like to hear about that?
I would love to hear about that. Please.
It, it's with my dog Sadie.
Okay.
I'm like way too concerned with how she's doing. I want her to be. She's like, I'm checking in on her all the time. I like, be really encouraging of how I'll walk behind her and tell her I'm hungry. Like I'm just like, you know. And if I have a thought that she's not okay in some way, like I'm literally like not okay.
Oh my goodness, Kurt.
She,
You can
on the
even
other
do it
hand,
with dogs, people. I'm just letting you know.
she, on the other hand, has no codependency with me as well. I'll come in the room and she might look my way, she might not. She's good either way, but for me, it's completely different. So, anyway, so that's kind of now that is kind of true. Like I am like I am codependent with her because I'm less okay if I perceive her not being okay. But in this case, I kind of like, you know, it's like I'm choosing it. I'm choosing the experience of being the doting dog daddy kind of thing. So anyway, I just thought that's like a interesting insight and a fun little anecdote on codependency.
Yeah, yeah, it is. And
Yeah,
I love that. The more personal that we can be as well inside of our mix
yeah,
inside of it is just, yeah, kind of
yes.
gives a kicker to it.
So your question was how to get out of it? Yes.
Yeah, how to get out of
Yeah.
codependency.
The biggest thing is to be aware of it. Most people really resist that they're codependent, and pretty much everybody is, unless you're actually dependent, which is a step below. Well, yes, most people are dependent or codependent. People break out into independence, right? And independence is, I believe, a phase you must go through. So I believe the next step from codependence is independence. Now, in my cultural upbringing, independence was the pinnacle. That was like as far as you could go to be able to chart your own course, build your own company, choose your own spouse, create your own income. Like that was as high as anyone was looking. And it wasn't that often people were looking that high. But if people were looking up, that was about that was as far as all anybody ever heard about. Um, and so taking responsibility, taking responsibility for what? Well, so let's take the cute example of the dog owner, right? Let's take me for example, right? So I need to take responsibility for my feelings. So let's say Sadie's having a rough day. She'll be fine. Tomorrow, she'll never think of it again, right? Oh, she had such a long ride in the car. Oh, please, tomorrow she'll never think of it again, right? So, um, um, what's important is not how Sadie's doing. Sadie's fine. What's important is how do I be someone who can literally just be peaceful in my own skin, in my own body, as the world's coming at me. Sadie had to spend 8 hours in the car. Okay, well, so did I, by the way. You know? And so did my wife, by the way. But why am I, like that, right? So to find what inside of me is unhealed, unacknowledged, untransformed, whatever, that find that wound that gets rubbed on or gets irritated when I see my dog in perceived discomfort. Might not even be real discomfort. And so most people resist that they're codependent, but in the strictest sense, if anyone else's opinion or mood impacts you in any way whatsoever. So if you look at it like that, everybody's codependent.
Yeah.
Very few people who walk into a room of 100 people all yelling and getting ready to kill each other and walk out completely unimpacted. Just people would come out talking about the negative energy and the fear and the excitement or whatever. They'd be really impacted by the energy of it.
And you
And
said
so
it impacts your mood or your attention?
yeah, impacted by the energy of it, all upset
Okay.
or all anxious or all fearful or so you would be impacted by the energy of it. Yeah. Yeah, the mood and the energy. Yeah, right. So if you came out of a room and 100 people were getting ready to kill each other, there'd be all this energy in the room and you would come out of the room and you'd be really still. So in the
Yeah.
strictest sense, you're being impacted by other people's energy and mood and that kind of stuff. So the more more independent someone is, so a sociopath is 100% independent. They could be in that room and be zero impacted. Zero impact. So that's not really what we're going for, but that's the far side of independence. As a sociopath, having no concern whatsoever for anyone else, especially their opinion. So anyway, independence is a commitment to be responsible for yourself and your experience. I'm not happy. Oh, well, it must be because my team lost. No, you're not happy because you're not doing anything with your life. I just don't have a lot of energy. No, it's because you're sitting on the fucking sofa all day long. You're not engaged in anything. I just feel tired all the time. Yeah, it's because you eat like shit and you don't exercise. So the independent person has mastered this. Oh, I don't feel good. Let me get on an exercise routine. Oh, I'm tired of being broke. Great. Let me start a company. Let me get a career. I'm tired of being lonely. Great. Let me clean my shit up and go. Let me be somebody worth being with. And let me go find somebody. That's the independent person. And so independent is not the final journey. So it could be looked down upon. But if you look at it from codependent, it's a massive step up.
Yeah.
Massive. And codependence is a massive step up from dependent. Because at least with codependence, you're like in the game. You're moving things around. You're as a dependent, you're just like, save me.
Yeah.
So, it's taking responsibility and doing what the codependent person doesn't want to do, which is, look at whatever's stopping them. Start removing barriers. I don't have any skills. I don't have any energy. I don't have any people in my life. I don't have friends. I don't, whatever. Yeah, we'll get to work. Got it. Go. Why are you
Yeah.
still here? I don't have any money. Got it. Go. Yeah, get to it. So I think the real simple answer is take responsibility.
Yeah. And I just want to bring this in for the people that are watching. A lot of the times, and I felt this even for myself, so I'm just sharing with this impact of what responsibility is. It's not that you're at fault. A lot of people are like, oh, it's my fault, it's my fault.
Yeah.
And it's so heavy and it's like so dense. And it's like, no, you're stepping into an awareness. And it is the greatest opportunity of like your life. To be responsible means that you're just responding ably to what's happening now, what's happening present, and you're coming into a realization of something that you can change. Like you can actually do something about this. So it's like, woohoo, let's do something about it.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so responsibility is your access to your power. It's the access to your freedom. It's access to everything that you want to be able to change in your life. So a lot of people have this weight on what responsibility is, and it's like the greatest thing to your aliveness. It's the degree in which you're awake. It's how you are inspired from the inside out, you know, and it's not from the outside. It's actually generated from the inside of you. And so it's just it is it's it's beautiful. It's fuel, you know. So I just wanted to bring that in.
I've got a great little analogy to distinguish between responsibility and fault. So
Okay.
I get into my car. I drive out the driveway responsibly and correctly, like, slowly. I stop, I look both ways. I drive out slowly into the street, looking in the correct direction. And then somebody going a ridiculous speed comes out of nowhere and sideswipes me. It's not my fault because I did everything correctly, but it is my responsibility.
Mm,
Anytime I step into that car, I know there could be some crazy fool that'll drive up out of nowhere and run right into me. Every time I get in the car, that is a possible outcome. And to not acknowledge that is not responsible. So I know when I get in that car, I could do everything perfectly and still gets me or someone else killed.
yeah.
Even though it wouldn't be my fault because I did everything correctly. So anyway, that's a great way to really drive it home, the difference between responsibility and fault.
Yeah, I was also brought to the awareness when you were distinguishing that about the flat tire. Like when life happens, you know, like can you distinguish that actually? Because
Yeah.
that's yours.
So
Yeah.
this is about choosing what you have in life. So
Yeah.
most people think choice is like chocolate ice cream, vanilla ice cream, choose. Chocolate, vanilla, choose. Well, I like chocolate. Okay, great, great, great. But that's not how life happens. How life happens is chocolate, choose. Wait, but what about my other choices? There are no other choices. Chocolate, choose. Well, then why do I have to choose? Because otherwise you're resisting what's actually around you. So I remember this actually happened. I was working with this distinction, leading, and I was, and I'm driving to the airport and I got it really pressed on time and I have a flat tire and it's raining and I'm wearing my suit. Choose. There's no time. There's no other clothes. There's no other weather. There's no other transportation. And
Man.
I just chose. And I got my umbrella and I just put a fucking smile on my face and I hopped out in the rain and just did it. Actually, like, got it done and didn't look too worse for the wear and got to there. I got it all done. And I wasn't fuming and I wasn't having a tantrum. Choice. Now that was in contrast to how I would have done it. All fussy and yelling and cursing and kicking and whatever.
Yeah. What gave you access to that though? Like to that
Well, I
ability?
was literally leading that in a workshop or seminar or something, that conversation.
Oh, okay. Oh, so then you were presented with the challenge and
Yes.
like it's right there and you're
Well,
like,
here it
okay,
is. Oh my God, it's Susan. Oh my God. Yeah.
Oh, that's great.
I still didn't want it, but I chose it.
Yeah.
Like I
Oh,
didn't want
wow.
to, have to change my tire in the rain. But there you go.
Yeah. Yeah, that's really beautiful too. It's not about the circumstances. It's about what you
Right,
choose inside of the circumstances,
right,
even when you don't want it.
right.
Like we don't
Especially,
want, yeah, we don't want that.
especially. Yes.
That's what I've been telling people lately. I'm like, be careful what you pray for, like, because I'm like, God, I asked God for courage. He gave me a very difficult situation,
Yes.
like, like, give
Courage,
me
no
things.
problem. Ding.
Sure. I'm gonna let you see that you have it all inside of you. You got it all. You got it all in you. So I ain't gonna do nothing.
Give her the courage experience. Are you sure? Yep, she asked
Woo!
for it. Okay.
Oh man. Yeah. I'm like, I just want to see things as you do, Lord. Like I
Yes.
just have eyes that
Sooner the
see,
better.
ears that hear. I just want that.
Sooner the better.
Yeah. All right. So going into the next topic is from independence. The next step up is interdependence.
Interdependence. Yeah. Wow. So, um, interdependence is perhaps the awareness and the choice to be responsible for. We all impact each other. Like we're all always making a huge difference. It's just that 99% of the time it's unconscious and undesirable.
Mm, it's not that funny. When you're in
Like,
it,
walking around all fuzzy and snapping at people, hey, guess what? That actually you're you're making a huge difference. You did. Everybody say you did it. I make a difference in the world. Yeah, you surely do.
wow.
So interdependence is like, you know what? I'm tired of being a weight on my community. Tired of being a
Mm,
victim, tired of being a bitch, tired of being an asshole, tired of being a dickhead, tired of being a victim, tired of being a child, tired of, you know, throwing temper tantrums. I'm tired of bullying people. I'm tired of whining and complaining. I'm tired of blaming. I'm tired of resisting reality, like not choosing what's happening, not choosing the flat tire in the rain. I'm going to start choosing the flat tire in the rain because it's not all about me. Interdependence is the opposite of narcissism. Narcissism is all about me. Interdependence is all about we, you know? So, yeah, you still take care of yourself because the community needs people who are lit up and healthy and inspired and healed and alive. That is a contribution to everyone. Imagine if everyone took seriously thriving in life and not for them, not so I can live my dreams and fulfill my destiny and pass on my legacy and so I can make sure I make my father proud. No, not for any of that. What if people were really took seriously thriving and having a magnificent, miraculous life because that's what would serve humanity? What if everybody took that on like seriously? Because everybody sees everyone else thriving, all there is to do is thrive. Now, as everyone sees everyone else suffering, all there is to do is suffer. Everyone sees everyone judging, all there is to do is judge. Everyone sees everybody hating and separating. Therefore, there's more hating and separating. And it's hurting everyone. As I hate and separate and judge and disconnect, I'm hurting everyone. I'm hurting humanity because I'm part of humanity and I'm modeling exactly how not to do life. So for me, interdependence is being responsible for something. What? Being a human being. Well, what do you mean? Well, I mean, you know, a lot of human beings are having a pretty shitty experience on the planet right now. by the grace of God, I don't happen to be one of them. So let me use my life to leave the place a little better than I found it. Planet, this community, this village, my family, my wife, Sadie, my dog Sadie. Let me, like, what if everybody, instead of inheriting the planet from their parents, were borrowing the planet from their grandchildren, their great grandchildren? What if that's what everybody was up to? We would live in we'd live on a very different planet.
Yeah.
So to me, interdependence is just acknowledging the reality of we all impacting each other all the time. Let us conduct ourselves accordingly. Now, that's not people pleasing. Well, wasn't that people pleasing if you're shape shifting and contorting for other people? No, I didn't say that. I said be responsible, respond ably to your impacting the people around you. You are an interruption. Everybody's an interruption. You walk into a room and there's somebody in there. Guess what? There's something new happening. You're in there. Guess what they were doing before you showed up? Something else. And most importantly, that something else did not involve you because you were not there. So the interdependent person understands this. And they make whatever decision they make, but in the context of everything I do or don't do, everything I'm being or not being, everything I say or don't say, absolutely impacts everyone around me. No question about it. And that's not dramatic. And it's not nothing. And so in this village here, North Wicking Village, we're learning how to live interdependently. And the biggest obstacle is the ego, both at the individual level and at the group level. Just people we're in the most beautiful environment you could possibly imagine, with as little stress as you could possibly imagine. And people are literally just going crazy.
It
Like
shocks me.
there's no outside pressure, like no one has to make money, or it's just 4 hours, 24 hours a week, 4 hours a day. It's a part-time job, people.
It's crazy to me. It's like it's literally about like what John was talking about in the sermon. It's like you get people out of Egypt, but you can't get the Pharaoh out of the
Yeah,
people. And it's like
yeah, yeah,
there's still all the old world and all the things like,
yeah,
you mentioned being a human being. Well, you come from a world of being a human doing, and you're
yeah,
constantly trying to do to get our way and get all the things that we think that we need to be comfortable.
yeah,
And we're chasing things that are not actually comfortable. Is that really comfortable for you? It's actually really difficult to keep all that together, and it's empty inside.
yeah,
So it's like, wow, the human being part, it's difficult for people to come from that transition, to really just be like, it's okay to be now. It's okay to be however you're being, but take responsibility for that. Like really
yeah,
recognize, where are you coming from? Why are you doing that? What is your higher purpose? What are you doing everything for? And are you doing it with honor? Are you doing it from love? Are you doing it to make that difference, to be a change in the world? And it's not easy, but it's worth it. It's so worth it when you come from that space. Ooh. So yeah, talking about the impact that people have, because you were saying that independence, it's like you don't, like the sociopath on the far end, you don't think that you have any impact, and so where does
It's not
that,
that you don't think you do, so you don't care if you do. No.
oh, you don't care if you do. Oh wow. So no empathy.
Right.
Oh wow. And then there's the super empathetic person on the other side of the coin, trying to match that person. And it's like,
Yeah, they can't move if you have a headache.
oh man, what can I get for you? Do you need
No,
anything?
get away from me.
Oh my goodness. Wow. So we all strive for community. We all strive for connection. We all strive to be living in a world where people are being responsible for themselves and a greater purpose, so find that purpose, find something worth like getting yourself out of codependency and just moving through the journey. Like the next step is independence, then the next step would be interdependence, but at least get yourself where you are, like awareness, tell the truth on yourself. Like there's two rules here inside of this village: own your shit and tell the truth. At least like, hey, okay, I'm aware of this now, I can see that I'm in this now I can do something about it, and just take that next step and that next step and that next yeah, and find a purpose that's worth getting your heart broken over numerous times,
Nice.
because it's everything. And it's not about getting what you want or getting your way. It's about all of us being lifted together in that same mission and that same purpose and that same intention. It's all about the we. So, thank you. Thank you, Kirk, for this conversation. If you want to, or if you're inspired by this conversation, Kirk helps leaders become leaders. And we have the Visionary Leadership Program. It's how to find your voice from the inside out, to move yourself from these distinctions, to create awareness in your life and find that spark inside of you and ignite it to where you can impact people and be on purpose. So if you'd like that, there's going to be a link in the chat for you with other resources where you can connect deeper with Earthwaking Village. I appreciate you and I honor you for taking this time, for spending with us. Live a life of purpose. Ciao.